it's Carolyn. I'm here today to share more messages for your awakening and ascension journey support. So what I decided to do today is share with you some of my top learnings from my awakening and ascension journey. Now, it's not all inclusive, but I started thinking, wow, what have been my biggest takeaways so far in what I consider to be a 5-year consciously conscious awareness that I was going through this journey, because I had many years since probably 2001 where I was unconsciously conscious that shift and change was happening. So what I'm going to do is share with you my top learnings, and I guess, certainly they're not all of them, but at the same time, hopefully they'll give you some frame of reference, and it might be interesting for you to just do this exercise yourself. And in the end, I'll share with you and wrap it up with kind of an overarching view of this process that I think might help you if we can just wrap our arms around actually being able to do that. So I'm just going to go through a list right now and talk to you about some of the things and give you some of the examples of things that have occurred with me and why these are, I could just say major learnings for me in the journey. So I'm Carolyn, I'm a channel, I'm a distance energy healer, and I'm a spiritual awakening mentor. And I offer these channels through the Light Keepers or just information from myself to help you along your awakening and ascension journey. So my goal is that you take away at least just one thing from each of these videos that you can apply to your own journey. So hopefully this is helpful to you. Also, if you want more information about my services, or you want to go ahead and get more poems that the Light Keepers offer, you can click on the link below, and what you're going to see is you're going to go into my website and it'll offer you an email list to join. You're also going to get a free video on how to create flow in your body for health and wellness. And then what you're going to get after that is you'll be on my email list once a week. You get a channeled message for your journey from the Light Keepers. So join me there too if you like my poems. Facebook also, don't forget Facebook. I never mention this. I post 2 to 3 poems a week on my Facebook page, Purple Rain Healing. So Purple Rain Healing. Check it out because you'll get a lot more poems. There's tons of them on there. All right, so I'm going to start with the first one. And again, these are in no particular order at all. So one of the things I realized is in humankind, we have a tendency to think you start something and then you end it and you've accomplished it. Well, what I've realized about this journey is it doesn't end. It's a continuous process of growth. We have a tendency to think, oh, we're going to get to enlightenment, or, oh, we're going to get to this place, and then we will stop and we will be everything we ever imagined we could be. And that's all well and good to feel that way. And we do feel that way sometimes where it's like, oh my gosh, because our human self says, well, look what I've attained. Look at all these intuitive gifts I have. Look at all the knowledge I have. I am enlightened. Well, guess what? Nobody ever finishes up. We don't finish up. It's a continuous process of growth. The minute you start thinking you're done, you're going to have more thrown in your face. Every single day is a learning process for you. A great example of that for me is my intuitive gifts that have opened up. I was blown away when that happened initially. And I have to tell you, I didn't even really know what a tarot card was before 5 years ago. I was just living a regular human life until this all happened to me. And then what happened from there is my channeling started, my mediumship started, all the gifts started. But they were a slow go. And I remember thinking, wow, okay. Gosh, I guess I'm here. This is where I'm going to be. And I'll just never see, because I didn't see at the time. I didn't see pictures or visuals. I heard. But guess what? I thought I was at my pinnacle about 3 years ago. And then all of a sudden I started seeing. All right. Now this is talking about intuitive gifts. And I'm just in general, there is so much more than intuitive gifts with respect to the ascension journey. But the point is I thought I was at a place where it's like, okay, there, I'm done. I've learned this and now I get going. No, it continues to grow, continues to grow. And here's the thing, just lean into it. Know that we are doing this over lifetimes. We've awakened in other lifetimes. Here's the thing, not all of us have. It's been, how do I want to explain this? Because it's a visual they're giving me. Okay, they just said it's like a rolling snowball. Oh, and each of you are a snowflake within that snowball. That makes sense. How big is the snowball? Okay, because we're collecting everyone else as we go, and then we incarnate again, and we join that snowball again, and we create bigger and bigger. So what they're showing me, this is why they use the wave after wave and the tsunami, because some of us have awakened in past lives before, but hardly anybody was, right? Or in this more, I'll just say modern era, right? You can argue Atlantis, everybody was awakened or whatever, but I'm talking more modern era where we've kind of sunk down past, the dimensions that we were in previously, and now we're trying to climb out of this, right? So what they're showing me is that then as we continue to incarnate, remember we're part of the collective, we keep going through learning, keep going through journeys, some of us may have awakened many times, but basically we're coming back in to help others. We don't consciously know that. But now what we've got is they just said a rolling wave. Okay, that makes sense. They're going back to the snowball metaphor. So more and more people are awakening. And so consequently, we're bringing them along. Okay. And so that snowball's getting bigger. And then some of us, oh my gosh, they just said some of us melt, the snowflakes. We finish our incarnation and then we start over again. And then we join the snowball again. And now we're becoming a big snowball of collective consciousness that is raising. And over time, more and more people join in. Does that make sense? This is not all of us in this incarnation right now are going to ascend and get to that place. No, not from what I have been told and seen and felt from the past lives and the journeys that they've taken me on to help explain it. So what I want you to know out of this one thing is that just know this is a process that happens over, okay, they just said eons. And of course, time doesn't exist ultimately. But the point is in our world, it's incarnation after incarnation. So how that will play out for you in future incarnations, I do not know. But what we are seeing now is really this, we're here at the beginning, truly the beginning, okay, of this massive shift that we're going to see. So those of us on planet Earth right now, we're going to get to experience a lot of, okay, they just said initial growth, but there's so much more to come, okay? And some of you may be going, oh my God, seriously? We're not going to ascend while I'm alive in this? Okay, ascension's a process. It's not a destination, all right? It's a continued growth. And honestly, I feel like, okay, they just said your brothers and sisters. Oh, okay. Okay, so for humans to ascend to the level of their brothers and sisters, and we're talking the star beings, yeah, see, it's a long process of humans becoming, they're just saying ascended beings. So just know that you're here to enjoy this, and I know some of it isn't enjoyable. Know that you are here to see the beauty, and there's a lot of beauty. Know that you're here. Everything you do matters with the continued growth because, again, as we incarnate, we keep adding to that snowball. I hope that makes sense to you. So lean into this. This is about continuous growth. It's lifelong. It is lifelong. It's multiple lives long. Okay, a second thing that I have realized very profoundly is we have help all around us in spirit form. Angels, guides, elementals, it goes on and on and on. The more you embrace the idea that there is help out there that we can't see, but that will send us signs and messages, first of all, the more fun and enjoyment you're going to have on your journey. But the key to this is that we do have to ask to receive. I will argue too, though, that we have the support all around us, but when we're really wanting to engage and become partners with our angels and our guides and in general, our support, and it's prolific out there, creating that partnership and having that conversation is critical to build that relationship. And as you do that over time, even if you don't ever see it like human 3D wise, like, oh, the thing's in front of me, this is what they gave me kind of thing, like a one-to-one correspondence, know that everything is being worked out for you and there is support all around you. It's in ways you may never understand or see, so don't go looking for the answers. So just know that it's part of a process that we don't really understand, but you're going to get signs and messages as time goes on. But the more you connect in and build a friendship and a partnership with them, the stronger that connection is going to be. Again, we have free will. So what they always tell me is you have to ask to receive. That doesn't mean every specific little thing, but ask them to show up in your journey and help you for your highest good, to show you things. I do ask for specific things on occasion, like parking places, which sounds super silly, but it's kind of fun to do. But the point is they also have a sense of humor. They also love to work with you. They want to be your friends. They want to be your allies. They want to be right around you. But again, they have free will that they have to abide by. So what I do, and I've mentioned this before, I get up in the morning and I always greet them and say, good morning, let's go. Here's what we got going on today. Here's where I need your help. By the way, is there any messages for me? Blah, blah, blah. And of course, I can hear, so I hear them speak to me. Some of you may too, but you can still ask that even if you're not clairaudient, and you never know how that's going to show up for you. But don't go looking for it, right? Like, just invite them in, and then at the end of the day, close out and thank them with gratitude. Thank them for being your friends and your partners and being here during this journey, because we do have help. That I can guarantee you. So again, lean back. Don't get all angsty about it and trying to figure out who they are, what their names are, all of that. Just know you're asking for support in your journey from the highest, for your highest good. And don't get hung up about how that's going to show up. Honestly, so much about this journey is about kicking back, not doing that human thing we do of striving and working and trying to figure out and analyzing and trying to see the signs and messages, all that stuff. And this is actually what I was going to talk about at the end, but I'm going to talk about it now and then probably at the end too, is the more you ease into this, the more you flow. This process doesn't have to be that hard. Yes, I know there are things that we encounter in the journey that are very difficult emotionally, physically, almost kind of torturous at times, because we're clearing so much, right? Needless to say, understand that the more we offer the kickback and just let things occur, the easier it is. So, number 2, help is all around. Ask to receive, and then continue building that partnership. It's like any other friendship. You can't have a friend if it's a one-way situation. So there you go. Number 3, may sound hard to understand or know what to do, but it's do the work. And some of you may argue that it's counter to what I just said, which is just flow and let it be. Well, that's true, but we have to do the work that is presented to us. We know what that is as we journey forward, particularly if you have others you talk to or you seek outside support. And I'm not trying to promote me, but my point is there are a lot of us that can offer help to you in your journey to help you understand what you're going through, what past lives might be. And that's kind of my thing or one of my big things is bringing through past lives that are impacting you today. And we're going to talk more about past lives here in a second, because that's one of the things that I've learned as well that is key to this journey. So again, as you start unraveling and working with others and seeing, oh, this connects to this, you are able to do the work. And you're going to do the work anyway, because your higher self, whether it's beknownst to you or not, is going to guide you to the places you need to go, to make the decisions you need to make, to follow what you need to follow. Don't get hung up about it, because guess what? You're going to have practices that actually offer you creating that foundation so that you can then flow into this and hear your higher self. And when I say hear your higher self, you may just act upon it naturally. It's just instinctive, intuitively, okay? Your higher self might not be talking to you like I sit and hear mine all the time, right? In my angels and guides. That doesn't matter, all right? Yeah, that's great to have that happen. But the point is that doesn't have to happen. And so doing the work essentially means first building that foundation so that you can then move forward in your journey in some semblance of calm and structure and self-care. That's critical. So as you do the work, it's not like checking off a checklist, okay? Just let it flow. Things will be in your space. Relationships will come your way. Situations will come your way. I said not too long ago, you know what? If I can sit in my home, literally by myself, do my business, and really encounter almost no one, in my day other than online, right? But I mean, I live a pretty sheltered life anymore. And of course, with the virus, that's even more, I guess I would say, impactful. But I really live kind of like a monk life. Oh my gosh, I've had so much happen to me. Are you kidding? The times I do get out and go out, these things will happen to you. There will be things you will be presented with, exciting things, difficult things, just stuff, right? You can't avoid it. Your higher self is going to present these to you in some way. It is going to happen. And so then what you just have to do is be able to flow into that. So you will do the work. Your higher self will lead you to doing the work, all right? And how that plays out for you will be different, but it will be here available to you. You can't miss out. But the key to this is, what are you doing for yourself with self-care? What's the foundation you're building? So that is another thing I have learned, is what we can do as humans to help with this journey. We can take control of what we choose to do. We can build ourselves from the inside out, because this is an inside job, okay? The whole thing is, all right? So what they're asking of you, your spirit team help and your higher self, is, all right, take care of yourself. Take care of that vessel that you're in. That vessel is the only way you travel this journey. What are your habits? What are the things that you do that really aren't for your highest good? Look at these things. Start doing new things that assist you in an ascension journey, which ultimately, I never did any of these things before. Meditation, key to the foundation of this journey. I will say it over and over and over again. There's a gazillion ways to do meditation. We won't go into that. I talk about it all the time. That is the foundation. Don't build your house on a foundation of sand. Build it on something solid. That would be meditation. From that, also, what kind of self-care do you do? You know, I never used to do Epsom salt baths. I took showers forever and a day. I didn't even, understand what Epsom salt baths were for. All of a sudden, one day, I'm just wanting salt baths. And again, these things will naturally happen to you. You don't have to go out and search on the internet and go, what do I need to learn for Ascension? I mean, yes, it's great, but, and then do those things. That's not how this works. Your natural self, your higher self will just one day you're like, I think I want Epsom salts and take a bath, and you don't even know why. Or you're drinking a ton more water. So my point in this is, as you're consciously aware of these things, through learning, like through videos like mine, and that's why you want more water or you want Epsom salts, you're going to start going, okay, that's part of my regimen. That's part of my routine now during this ascension journey. That's kind of how it starts clicking in. And then you have your habits. You start eating differently, most of us do. And again, that goes in waves. It doesn't mean you have to become a vegan. I mean, you may not choose to, right? What does your body need at that time? So again, you're going to look at your diet. That's going to happen pretty naturally too. There's a lot of shifts and changes. What else are you doing? Are you getting out in nature more? That's another thing that seems to show up for a lot of people, all right? Very organically. Again, you're going to build your self-care regimen. Critical to this journey. Because remember, we are receiving energies from all over. We're getting downloads, we're getting upgrades. Those are things that just happen to us during this journey. It is a full onslaught of new energies that you're receiving as you go through this. So it just happens. Full moon, new moon, eclipse, solstices. It goes on and on. Equinoxes. Every month we've got something, right? And so your body's being affected by that. How are you supporting that? Self-care is critical. That's one of the major things I have learned in this. Now, I will say, some of us maybe have been doing a lot of this. Like, I am an exercise freak, right? Now, I've learned how to balance that out because, again, this is about not being extreme in anything. It's about learning to balance things. Point is my exercise routine was supercharged. I did a lot of these things, okay? But I did a lot of these things and shifted and changed as I was going through my unconscious, conscious part of my journey. And then as I became consciously aware after my dark night of the soul, I was like, oh, now I see why I'm doing these things, okay? And then you can add to that regimen. You find what works for you too. So again, it's a recipe you will make for yourself. And what will happen during this time as well is you will also start kicking some of your habits or start looking at, we all have something that we have as a crutch. Yes, we do. Even if it's something little. I personally, my drug of choice was always wine or mixed drinks. I can hardly drink anymore. I still try, and then I suffer. So there are those things that will come your way. So again, that's part of self-care. Like, what are the things that may not serve you anymore, right? Yeah, they're going to some of them are going to hang in there, but a lot of us are shedding those. So, again, self care routine, big deal in this awakening journey that I have learned. Okay, so the next one, and this is so important, and we are never taught this in humankind, ever, ever, ever. First of all, so many of us grew up with belief systems that said we just had one life. And usually that's a result of a religious construct, right? However, I'm here to tell you we have had many, 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 many lives, not just human lives, but that's another conversation. Needless to say, we are in this incarnation experiencing so much of past lives and karmic situation. What we have seen happen in our life journey and will continue to see has to do with past life situations where maybe we didn't get it quite right and we're all coming back in to do it differently and get it right, whatever that means for that situation, playing different roles, coming with some of the same people. This is so common right now. Most of what is occurring is karmic situations, past life situations that we're doing over again. And a big part of this is clearing this out, attempting to get this right or finish up that contract, because we do have contracts. We have contracts we create before every incarnation. And so we've come in again, and you may wonder, why in the world did I have to encounter this in my journey? Well, you don't know whether you played the opposite side the last time and now you're having to deal with what you brought to that person previously, or vice versa. It is often the upside down, or we have to play the role in a different way so that we can play out the play in the way that we had intended for the highest good of everyone. So we all learn our lessons. So just know and understand that as we are going through this journey, the relationships that we've had in the past, particularly the significant ones that have played a part in this incarnation, are typically a result of a past life. You may be taking on something for someone else in this journey as well, helping them with their karmic debt. You may be coming in to work with someone who's not in your soul family, and it's a soul that just needs help, and you've helped them in multiple incarnations. I've seen this over and over again. Or the opposite, where you as an individual join another soul group or family that you're not a part of to assist them in their ascension, in their learning. Those can oftentimes be difficult family relationships where you don't feel like you belong at all. But this goes over and over and over again, because what we're doing is we're assisting other souls and they're assisting us in our journey. And so much of it comes from past life experiences, because we cannot move forward in this ascension journey without unraveling all that stuff that has been done to us in the past. And so much of it is traumatic stuff. A lot of people that I work with, their past lives have to do with having been a part of, I'll just say, the mystical and magical, the pagan ways, the druid ways, the healer ways, all of that, the gypsy ways, all of that, the indigenous ways throughout time. Persecuted, traumatic lives. Over and over and over again. Well, guess what? We also are clearing those past lives in this journey. So lots of times we'll feel physical stuff that we don't understand. We might have illnesses we don't understand. It's been locked up in our cellular memory. We don't understand. Now, when we unravel those things, we understand those past lives. A gateway opens up for starting of healing. And that's because the mind, body, and soul now all start to understand together. The soul has always understood this and knows what we're coming in for. The body holds that in cellular memory in our DNA, because DNA is the library of us. Remember that. All of our incarnations. And we've switched on certain switches to be able to clear in this incarnation. So know that all that trauma that you've decided, oh, this is the life I'm going to clear that. I'm going to work through this, or I'm going to learn this lesson, you're going to experience in this incarnation. Most of the stuff we're dealing with now comes from karmic situations, past lives. Yeah, you may have picked a new learning or two. You may be with some new people too, some new souls you haven't dealt with previously. That's for your learning. But I'm here to tell you, this is such a multifaceted journey. It is not a simple one-to-one correspondence of, oh, I'm born, I come in to enjoy life, and then I leave, and that was my life. No. So it's very multifaceted. It's very upside down. Oftentimes, what we see on the surface as a human is not at all really what it is, in the sense of why that person came into our lives and caused all that trauma for us, or vice versa. Why all of that happened. There are real reasons for why people do the things they do. Now, that doesn't mean that it's all good and well and for everybody's high is good. But the thing is, we've had choices to be able to come in and do things a certain way. And oftentimes we'll come into the human energy and it all goes awry. We don't do it the way we intended, because guess what? This human energy is super heavy and it keeps us held down. Look at all the belief systems, the constructs, the processes we've set up as humans that we have manifested, by the way. We've all been involved in manifesting everything around us over and over again. And now we're here to break that down and start over for all of our highest good. That's why we're in this now, in this creation mode, in the new age of Aquarius, all right? Where really, honestly, this is where it begins, okay? So, but the point is that's why these past lives have to come through. You've got to deal with those. And they're going to be presented to you. Even if you don't understand them, you're going to have strange things occur that you don't understand, relationships that come out of the blue, people who come back into your lives, goes on and on and on. So, knowing that is important, even if you don't ever understand a past life that has been presented to you. Anyway, point is past lives are a huge deal in our awakening and ascension journey. And I just want you to understand that. They are real and true. So I'm going to cover 2 more things. And then you know what? This is probably a situation where I could do another video on other pieces of this journey. Things I have learned that honestly, I knew nothing about beforehand. I was one of those that I was kind of like, okay, well, we have one life. I never thought anything previous to this. I didn't really understand the journey. I just didn't think about it. I just was living the typical life. And all of this has opened up to me. Just literally, it's like somebody, took a cork out of a bottle and all the fizz came out. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, look what's here. And that's literally how so much of this showed up for me. And that's why I want to share that with you today, because you're just going to come into your own knowings as well. But it sure helps oftentimes to cross-check with people like me with my videos to go, oh, so that's kind of a thing. So to continue, I want you to understand you're all going to have your individual journey. Like, for example, you can't come to my videos and go, I'm going to have this exact thing happen just like Carolyn did. That is not how it works. But what I will tell you is there are chunks of the awakening ascension process that we all go through. They're big chunks, okay? Big pieces of the process. So there's going to be commonalities within that, but everybody has their own magical way of going through this. And I'm not kidding you. The people that I've worked with, it's all over the map. So don't try to match your situations, particularly the specifics, with something somebody else has had happen, because it's probably going to be a little different or a lot different. But understand it's all part of the journey, the uniqueness of you and the uniqueness of your own journey that you've decided to create coming in and to go through in this ascension. So next, tied to this is an inside job. We've been talking about this. When I say that, this is all about you. It's about what comes from the inner you, that you will then start to be guided by the inner you, the feelings, the knowings, the intuition, the answers that lie inside yourself, that little voice that says to you, oh, do this, and then you go do the opposite, right? We all have been there, right? Because what we've done is we've listened to everybody else throughout time. We've been taken as a little child, and our belief systems have been constructed as a result of what has been created previously, processes, systems. We're talking the megalithic structures in our societies, religion, politics, cultures, the way society should be run. It goes on and on and on. And so what this is now about the awakening and ascension journey is it's all about going inside. Is it any wonder we've had a virus that showed up that makes us spend more time with ourselves? And yes, that can be uncomfortable if you're not used to it. But the point is this is an inside job. So when we think about this, and I said this in the beginning, is, you know what? This process, honestly, it's super complex, but at its foundation, it's really simple. But we don't understand it because as humans, we have been taught to define ourselves from the outside. Well, we're breaking all that down. We're breaking all that down. So that's about going inside, understanding what we truly believe and understand, and what is the trueness of us, and to be able to create out of that, to be the trueness of who we are. And this is at any age. It doesn't matter how old you are. This is an inside job of continuing to understand who you are at your core, that divine being that's come in to have this human experience, but then to define yourself from the inside out and to reclaim who you are. So again, all of these constructs are breaking down. This is an inside job. So again, back to the very simplistic part of this, the more you allow flow, the more you allow peace, the more you allow the inner journey and the connection within, then everything else starts clicking in and happening. But remember, we are so focused on everything else that swirls around us, but not in the awakening and ascension journey. This is the time to go inward, and it will happen, but it can be quite a human struggle and be very uncomfortable, because remember, we've also been taught that, spending time on yourself is super selfish or self-centered. How many times have you been told that or heard that? Well, not anymore, all right? Because it doesn't mean you're excluding the ones you love or people around you. You're learning about who you are so you can give love to yourself, so that that love can then be given to those in the collective. Because if you don't have that within yourself, how are you going to give it to others? And then think about this. If everybody gave love to themselves and knew who they were and understood themselves with the greatest of love, we wouldn't have these problems that we have. It's all because we haven't been able to connect with who we divinely truly are and then present that to the outside world. Because if every single one of us does that, imagine what the collective is like. All right, so that's the journey we're on. Remember, inside job, the concept is not that hard. Yes, implementation can be difficult because of how we've been indoctrinated into this human journey and the energies that surround us. Okay. Lastly, I want to end with this one because I just think this is probably one of the most fun things I have learned, is that all the mythical things that we have read about in our schooling, gods, goddesses, fairies, angels, it goes on, and I should have a long list. But anyway, all the mythical creatures, they're real. Dragons, unicorns, mermaids, they're all real. They come from a past that was in another dimension that is still available to us and that some of us are starting to see. We've just lowered ourselves as humankind into a dimension that they just don't access. But what's happening now is, I've said this before in another video, many of you are starting to see those creatures again. Many of you. I, for example, I see the elementals on a regular basis. I see my angels. I've actually seen them with my physical eyes. I'm now starting to see the elementals in their little sparks, like with my naked eye, which is so cool. Not even at night. So it's been during the daytime too. So it's really neat. So many of you, in fact, I'm remembering somebody now who actually sees fairies in their garden. Sees fairies, yes. I had the fairy video, right? That some of you may recall. Anyway, I want you to understand that all that we have read about and been told is myth. Well, it's rooted in what was reality at one time. Those creatures still exist. They are here for us to, they just said reclaim. Oh, this is neat. They just said they're reaching out to you in your ascension journey for support and love and kindness. So many of you are going to be connecting with those who you've connected with in the past. And who have been part of your journey forward. Oh, wow. Yeah. In fact, it's interesting because, wow. So there are, this also goes to creatures of the sea. Just creatures in general, being able to communicate with them. They're showing the whales now. Okay, so they're showing the whales being able to communicate, the whole dolphin situation, being able to communicate with humans. But anyway, my point is you're all going to find your own way to the ones that you connect with, and I would find it hard to believe that at some point in your journey you're not connected with some kind of mythical creature, or that people say don't exist, that does exist, and that now you're reconnecting with because you've had past lives with them, you have worked with them in the past, or they are here because they are here to support you. So just know, all the mythical stuff is real and true. So, with that today, I think I'm going to finish up here, and I have many others that I can share with you, but right now I think that's enough. I hope you've taken something away from this. Remember, this is not a recipe. These are all things that I have experienced, that I have taken to be tried and true for the awakening and ascension journey. And again, this doesn't all happen at once. I mean, this is a process of unfolding, especially if you're starting this journey. Don't think, oh God, I don't have any of this. Where is it? And how do I get it? Remember what I said. The idea, the concept of just going inward, creating your foundation of peace, and self-care, okay? Self-care, looking at your habits, looking at the practices, the things you do to keep yourself healthy, being able to, find that mind space through, again, I'm just going to tell you, meditation. All the things that I've talked about over and over again that they bring through to me that are important for building that foundation of launching off into this ascension and awakening journey. Because what's going to happen for you, I don't want to say it's going to make it easier. It's going to, well, they just said easier to maneuver. All right, easier to maneuver, because then you'll be able to fall back on something. For example, I get low-level anxiety on occasion because of the energies. Well, I know what to fall back to. When that starts to happen, I know what to go do for myself to be able to take that anxiety away. That's what we want to establish in this journey, to support you with all these other things that are going to be happening, right? And it's a mystical, magical journey. It's a beautiful journey. It's just that we have to come to the party and do our work, set our foundation, and then just let it flow. So thank you so much for joining me today. I do want to remind you of all my services at purplerainhealing.com. I channel for you and I bring through your past lives. I can help you determine why you may have had the relationships you've had in the past, why you had the familial relationships you've had, or why you're going through some of the things you're going through now, whether it be emotional, physical, whatever it is. I can typically help you find a past life that's going to attach to something that's going to help you with your ascension and awakening journey forward. I offer all channeled messages, including distance energy healing. And don't forget, Celeste and I, oh my gosh, we've been so busy with our soul journey sessions. That's where we take your full journey and we give you an overarching view of it from your star family origin all the way to present day. And we're going to give you past lives in there too. Those are fascinating. And it's a 50-minute recording that you will love. And it's us going back and forth, answering some of the questions you have and also giving you additional information. We would love to work with you. So reach out, purplerainhealing.com. And again, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.